Hi everybody, welcome again to Richie's Gaming Gadgets and Gizmos. So recently I did a video on this GameVice GamePad, which is designed for the iPad mini specifically. What's good about this gamepad is that it connects directly into the lightning port of the iPad mini, and because it does that, you won't get any lag when it comes to controller. When you're pressing the physical buttons on this and seeing action on the screen, there's no lag, right? Which is really good. But one thing I wanted to stress, that this GameVice GamePad is designed specifically for the Apple iPad mini, right? Which you're seeing right here. So I had a couple guys ask me, well, what about the iPad Pro and what about the iPad, right? The regular iPad. Well, I do know that the iPad Pro, there will be one of these available for the iPad Pro shortly. And trust me, once they do come out, I'm getting my hands on one, and I will let you know my true thoughts. Because just imagine, right? You have that huge. This is a small screen here, but imagine an iPad Pro. That's what, 12.9-inch screen. That's huge. And you have one of these controllers on it. Sweet, right? Yeah. Because I mean, there are like hundreds of games, literally hundreds of games that are compatible with this setup. So, and yeah, you can just go on GameVice's website and they show you all the games. Anyway, so you must be asking yourself, so well, you've done the demo on this already, and you've shown us gameplay and done the unboxing and everything. So why am I watching this video? Well, it's Big Brother, the other GameVice I call it. This one is designed for the regular sized iPad. So, bye bye iPad mini. You can go about your merry way. And bye bye GameVice for the iPad mini. We've seen you already. So we have the GameVice GamePad 4. I call these regular sized iPads. This is the iPad Air 2. One of the latest iPads out in this class. This one is a 16 gigabyte one that I have here. And yeah, this is the Wi-Fi one. So yeah, so what I'm going to do in this video, I'm sure you've guessed it, is take this out of the box and take this brand new iPad out of the box, show you how well it is to install them. It's pretty much the same exact user experience, look and feel on the smaller GameVice for the iPad mini. The exact same button layout. It's the same exact thing. I mean, you can look at the pictures, right? They're the same, right? The same, just different colors, just to show that, hey, one is for a different tablet. And even the back of the boxes are identical, right? So it's just same gamepad, just for a larger iPad. Alright? Alright, so you go about your merry business, and let's get these two out of the box, and let's put them together, and once I've had some time to get some games installed on this, of course I will show some gameplay video as well. Alright, so on to the unboxing. Alright, so GameVice on your left and iPad on your right. Okay, before we look at the GameVice, let's just take this brand new iPad Air 2 out of the box. I really love, I mean, one of the things about Apple, they've been consistent in their packaging. It's just, plain white box, lovely sleek side profile of the iPad. Sorry, the iPad Air, excuse me, iPad Air. Yeah, so, alright. Let's see here. Alright. I find these have like a little vacuum in them, so you just have to hold the top and let it slowly slide out with the help of gravity. There you go. Fresh out the oven. Look at that iPad here. Huh? Nice and lightweight, very thin. Have your paperware, charging cable, and our ever familiar power supply. I have tons of these, but I always lose them. They're like pens. You ever imagine having a pen and you always lose your pens? Same thing with me and Apple chargers. I always lose them. And again, just like pens, we have hundreds of them, right? Yeah, I have tons of iPad power supplies and I keep losing them. It kind of sucks. Now, this is a really nice iPad. Actually, I should compare this to my old, like, my second generation iPad that I got back in like 2000, I'm sure 2012 or something. Check this out. Look at those two. For starters, this thing is heavy compared to the iPad Air. This is definitely lighter. And of course, there's this huge bezel. I mean, I like bezels if you don't want your thumbs to touch the screen, so it's pretty cool. But you know, Apple, they've done away with they've made the bezel, especially along the sides here. If you hold it portrait, they've made the bezel smaller. Let's take this one out of the box. And I love space gray. It's in a very nice neutral color. So here are the two side by side. Of course, you have your fingerprint scanner sensor, sorry, which is pretty much commonplace now on tablets and smartphones. But back in the day, they didn't have that. You just had the old button here with the familiar iPad, little iPad square logo there in the button. You know, back in those days, they didn't have a fingerprint sensor or anything like that. It's just a good old-fashioned button that you press, turn on, you know, to use as your home button on the old iPads like these. I mean, you have a front-facing camera here. Of course, this one has way less, megapixels than I'm sure the iPad Air does. So this is just a quick comparison of iPads, just in case you're, because these iPads have been out for a long time. The iPad Air 2, relatively. But I just wanted to quickly show you the difference between like one of the old iPads that, you know, anybody remembering when the iPad first came out back in, I think, 2010, March 2010. You know, this is like the second generation. You know, this is what it kind of looked like. And here we are now in 2016, and look at how it has evolved. It's lighter, sleeker, of course more powerful processors, so more powerful guts. This is way more slim and sleeker. This has the more of a curved back end, but the logos are generally the same, and you have the iPad positioning and whatnot. Pretty cool. Right, so that was just a quick little side-by-side comparison. One other thing I noticed on my old iPad, I have my external speakers right here. You know, of course, your volume rocker key, your lock key here, 3.5mm jack, and this one is actually an LTE version, so I actually have a slot here for my SIM card. My iPad Air 2, this is Wi-Fi only, so there's no slot for SIM card. And back in the old days, you had like a single rocker button for volume. They have two separate buttons for volume on the new iPad Air, and you have a nice camera, and the camera is actually flush with the actual casing, which is pretty cool, and you have like a little sensor there. Nice. Right, so that's my quick iPad comparison, but that's not the real intent of this video, right? No. We want to look at the GameVice GamePad. So anyway, let me just put this iPad Air to aside a second. Now, just take this out of the box. Now, just like on the other GameVice GamePad I got for the iPad Mini, opening the GameVice box for this bigger one. Oh, there's some tape on the side here, but it should be the same way. You open the box, you just open it like a box of chocolates. Inside you should find your prize, the GameVice GamePad. Let me say it properly. Introducing, drumroll, the GameVice GamePad. So, what's this? I'm guessing warranty information and setup instructions. So we've seen this before on the other one, but just to open it quickly here. So you have the GameVice Live. Alright, hundreds of games available, and this is just telling you where you can find those games. And if you don't remember, just go into Google and just type GameVice Games, and then you'll find the website. And here we have a little booklet here, or this is a little page showing you how to talking about the whip stabilizer. So because this is a larger device, they have these thing called width stabilizers that make the device a bit more stable when you connect up the larger iPad, and you can see them here. And I guess you can slide them, and it makes this middle piece a bit more rigid, right? Because of course with a larger iPad, you don't want this thing like turning. You want the controls to be very steady. So that's what this is all about. Anyway, we'll look at that in a bit more detail when we look at the actual gamepad. And then what else do we have in here? Let's move this for a second. We don't need that. Okay, so GameVice. There's some marketing material. Show these different characters in different colors. So just art. So I guess you can stick these up in your room, or if you don't have if you have all these picture frames and you don't have any body to put in them, you can, I guess, put these in, right? You would have to be pretty lonely to have picture frames with no pictures to put in them. Anyway, so here's your GameVice stickers, black ones and a white one, and here is guessing what is this? Your complete satisfaction is our goal. Okay, so I'm guessing that's some warranty information, and here we have installation manual. So of course it shows you hold on tight. So you slide the iPad obviously into the port there on the side, and you connect your lightning port into, connect the gamepad into the lightning port on the iPad. And then of course you can actually pull this out a bit, right? Because there's a little spring mechanism. Again, I will show you that in a second. You just push them in place, and there are these grooves that the iPad actually slides in. So you just click that in place, and here it shows you tells you about this keys, analog knobs, yeah, D-pad, 8-way, you have our action buttons here, flex bridge, lightning connector that I talked about. And we have our shoulder buttons on the back there, and on the side here we have our battery status indicator, etc, etc. Alright, well, you must be saying to yourself, well, why is he showing us this on a piece of paper when he has the real thing inches away from his hands? Good question. Anyway, let's get to the master of ceremonies, belle of the ball, the GameVice GamePad. Alright. So let me just put this here for a second. And here's it comes with a USB charging cable as well. And that's it. It comes with this fancy protective case, but there's nothing else in there. Let me just make sure. Yeah, there's nothing else in there, just an empty box. Alright, so let's put this cable in there. I don't need that. I already have a cable. It would be really cool. Let's just compare this against the iPad Air, iPad Mini's gamepad. Nice. So here we have the iPad Mini one. Now obviously you can see it's smaller in terms of like width, but if you look at the height, if I'm correct, yeah, it's also smaller when it comes to height, obviously, right? Yeah. If you have a big iPad, you want this thing to be longer and taller as well. So the iPad's GameVice controller is longer, as you can see, than the one for the iPad Mini, and it's also wider than the iPad Mini, which is the controller for the iPad Mini, which is expected. But as far as buttons are concerned, just looking at the buttons with a naked eye here, I think these buttons are a little bit more spaced out and maybe a little bit bigger. Let me really look at this closely. One second. Yeah, I'm looking at them. No, the buttons are the same size. It looks. I thought that the buttons might be bigger on the iPad's gamepad when compared to the iPad Mini, but they seem to be the same size. And the analog knobs. And you know what? Yeah, they should be the same size because yeah, you have a gamepad that's designed for a larger tablet, but our hands remain the same, right? So if I got this or this, I'm using the same size fingers and thumbs, so obviously the buttons would be the same size. So that's my bad. Anyway, so yeah, and they have these things here on the larger one, and these are I think the stabilizers that they were talking about. You won't find it on the smaller iPad mini gamepad because of course it's a smaller device, so you don't need additional stabilization. But we have all of this, and I think to make this more rigid and stable when you have the iPad in, these little bands here can actually slide across like so. That's one, and this one can actually slide across as well, and I'm going to leave them in this position. Alright, this comes across as well like that, and you can see here you have the bands on this side and you have the fatter bands on the other side. Alright, and it gives you that additional stability when you have the larger iPad in there. Okay. Now speaking of large iPads, let's get the actual iPad out. Here it is. I'm going to leave these stabilizers here in the middle, and here's my Lightning port. This is a nice iPad. I love it. It's real nice. I love this space gray color. Really love it. Anyway, so as you can see, there's the port there. Let's plug her in like so. And oh, one other thing. So if you can see here on the side, they have these little grooves on the top and bottom, and you get that groove on both sides of the controller. So here as well you have the groove. So that's where your iPad slides into, right? Keeps it stable, so it doesn't like drop out. So connect into the Lightning connector, and then of course I usually hold the iPad with this side and I pull this out because it does have a little bit of a springy mechanism, and it just slides back in place like that. And here you have you've now converted your iPad Air into a video game console. Now imagine how cool you look on the train if you have this beast. Yeah, you have the guy next to you and he has his little paltry PSP or PS Vita with that mini 5-inch screen, and you just yank this out. Yeah, mine's bigger than yours, buddy. Mine is bigger than yours. Right, so let's look at the buttons. D-pad, 8-way D-pad. 4 action buttons labeled X, Y, A, and B. We have our menu key. We have our analog knobs. I think like any game pad manufacturer or game controller manufacturer today, I think they all have like the same standards when it comes to high level standards when it comes to buttons on a gamepad. So like for example, analog knobs, these feel very smooth and fall back in place when you let them go, and they have that rubberized grip with a little indentation, perfect for your thumbs. And these controls feel comfortable, and they have to feel comfortable, especially if you are a professional hardcore gamer who loves to game for hours and hours and hours and has no life. So this is perfect for you, if that's you. At the back here we have our shoulder buttons, 2 on each side. What I love about the bottom shoulder buttons, let me put it like from this angle. These bottom shoulder buttons here are like, they feel like triggers, which is perfect. If you look on the side there, you have that trigger feel, and this is perfect for when you're playing first-person shooter games. And the top buttons are just normal buttons. Now, another important thing to note: when I press these, there's no loud clicking sound. They're relatively quiet, which is good. So you can play this like if you have to play it in the library or something, and of course you would need a set of earbuds or headphones so they don't hear the sound. But you can play this in a quiet environment and still have some fun without people hearing the click and clacking of keys. So that's the actual in-game buttons. Let's look at the bottom here. We have our 3.5mm jack here, and then here we have a button. If you press it, it actually, and you hold it down, it can tell you the status here. You have 4 LED lights, and it shows me 2. So it tells me that of course, because there's a built-in battery on this thing, of course, that you have to charge. But it's telling me that the battery is 50% full. Now to charge the battery, there's a mini USB port right here, and it does come with a mini USB cable, so you plug the cable into this. Now the cable, this doesn't come with a power supply, so of course you just need any normal USB port, because all USB ports have the standard 5 volt source. So you just plug this into your laptop that's already turned on, or your PC, or even on the back of the television set, because television sets have USB ports, and if you turn your television set on, you can connect it to that, and you can charge your device as well. So that's a little tidbit of information for you, like road warriors and travelers. If on a side note, if you forgot your power supply to charge your phone or your tablet, but you do have the cable, you can use the USB port in the back of your television to charge your device. So, and I learned that just by experimenting, and it does work. Now, one other quick point to note that I forgot to mention. Now, I said that you can charge your GameVice GamePad via this mini USB port. Well, when you have your iPad in its docking in the docking station, you can actually charge your iPad as well as your GameVice GamePad all at the same time via this little port here, right? So you can leave your iPad in here and connect your mini USB to a power source, and you can charge your iPad at the same time you're charging your GameVice GamePad. Nice. So just before I move on here, as you can see here, look at that, the profile from the back, from the bottom here, just from the top there. Right, so it's pretty, and it feels really nice in my hand. As I said, get access to the keys, play around with the analog knobs, action buttons right there, and your D-pad. Yep. Right, so that, ladies and gentlemen, is an overview of the GameVice for the iPad Air. Now, one other thing to note, there is a little bit of movement when I move the gamepad around, as you can see here. It's not like perfectly rigid, but I think because of these stabilization bands here, you can adjust them as well. Bring them out a little bit, give it a middle, just to give you that additional stability here. Alright. But yeah, it does feel nice in the hand. Let me just turn this around here. Now, I have regular sized man hands, and I can easily navigate around the gamepad. I can control the analog knobs with my thumbs while having access via my index finger to both the shoulder buttons, the trigger and the shoulder buttons. I can access the menu key, action buttons, and the directional keys as well, and my hands stay in the same place, and it does feel nice and contoured right here to my hand, right? So it feels very comfortable because it's molded for a human hand, or in this case 2 human hands, one on each side, right? Here's a menu button here, and I guess this menu button also doubles as a start button, and that's it for buttons. I don't see anything else on here. I don't think you need anything else on here because it is just a gamepad, but it's a gamepad designed specifically for the Apple iPad Air 2, and this is the standard size, right? So you have the iPad mini, of course, which is the smaller iPad. You have this, which sits in the middle, and then you have the larger iPad Pro, which is I think 12.9 inches as far as like a diagonal screen size, which is larger than this. So that being said, when I do get my hands on the iPad Pro's gamepad from GameVice, I will do a review of that as well. So I am going to charge this up a bit more, get some games on this bad boy, and have a subsequent video where I show some gameplay on the larger screen of the iPad using the GameVice controller. That being said, guys, one other thing. In most of my videos, I usually have links below where you can actually get these products off of the Amazon website. What I love about Amazon, they usually, sometimes you can usually find a good discount if you're lucky, but yeah, good quality. You get good quality stuff from those guys. Anyway, that being said, you guys have a great day. I'm out to play some games. This is Richie signing off. Hey everybody, so I hope you enjoyed that video. Now I'm going to ask you to do 2 things before you leave. One, there's a button right up here on the screen to my right here. Click on that, and that will take you to our website, www.redtechbot.com. When you get on that site, there will be a button there where you can actually sign up for our newsletter. And when you do sign up for our newsletter by entering in your email address,
you will automatically be entered into all of our tech giveaways. And by tech giveaways, these are some typical examples of what we will be giving away, and these are some examples. There's other stuff as well. And the good news is, you just have to enter your email address once, and it will automatically be entered into the pool every time we do a draw. And we will use that email address, of course, to contact the winner to tell them, hey, you've won something, and it's really cool. And of course, the newsletter will have updates on tech reviews, what's coming up new, what's coming up next, new stuff in the industry, and even information on future giveaways, right? So it's really nice newsletter that we're going to be sending out. And one other thing is, on this side on the screen here, up here on my left, you click on that and you will subscribe to the channel. Now, by subscribing, of course, you will be at the forefront of any new things that are happening, any new videos that are coming out. And what I will also be doing is I'll be doing videos where I'll be talking about what we're going to be doing as a next giveaway, right? So you want to be subscribed, tuned in to that as well. So it's going to be a fun year and fun years to come as well. So yeah, that being said, you guys have a great day.